Welcome to another inspiring episode of Stories Untold. Avuxeni, namuntlha hi vulavula hi nkoka wa dyondzo eka vana lavatsongo. Educational investment for children, it is proved very important. Meet Mbongeni Simelane, who is a maths primary school teacher and has gone the extra mile to invest in township children and their education, exposing them to educational opportunities.
It is important to recognize the role that teachers play in our society. They are responsible for educating and shaping the minds of the future generation, and their work is crucial to the success of our communities.
Teachers have to be social workers. They have, in a way, also to know the social circumstances of each of the children. You are a tenderer of that precious plant that Providence has put in our nation.
Author, speaker, and mathematics teacher Mbongeni Simelane is one such teacher from Soweto. He embodies the role of being a good role model to his students. He has taken the responsibility of going above and beyond the call of duty by recognizing talented students and exposing them to opportunities that seemed very far from them.
There are a lot of opportunities in education. Also, I had this thing, some people think being in school, it's not right. There's limited opportunities. So I wanted to work with that, let me create opportunities. So now and then, but no, man, you don't need to go to school in order to be successful, which I understand. So I wanted to add there to there are opportunities in the school, and definitely I've discovered a lot of opportunities. So that's what I do in my job, to present opportunities to the kids.
Part of his school special project is to recognize the kids' interests and dreams. He then encourages them to work hard on their schoolwork in order for them to be selected for excursions and other educational opportunities.
When I take kids to Amaskejin, it's not like I've got transport cars and all the beautiful cars that you see. I don't have those things. But I always find someone who has those things, who can assist me. I always say, look, I'm a teacher, this is what I do. I want to create this opportunity for a kid. I've got kids that want to become soccer players. So in order for them to say, stick to school, you will become a soccer player and stuff, what is the best way? Take kids to a professional space. They've got soccer teams, we've got PSL in South Africa, there are different teams. So take kids, go there. I try my best, even though I don't know anyone, but I try my best to find a team like I did before with Orlando Pirates. I took the kids there. Kids, they want to experience luxury car. I don't have luxury car, but what do I do? Where do I get simple? That's when I go to a dealership and ask for those opportunities, and also and they say, okay, guys, can you give these kids an exposure? Because sometimes I do it simple. You perform very well in academics or in sports and anything, as a reward, you will be able to get a taste of this kind of luxury. So if the child is experiencing this kind of luxury, knowing with you, I'm here, I'm going to bring them back different. I'm here because I did well with mathematics.
To address the educational inequalities and lack of opportunities for township schools, Simelane collaborated with different organizations that are passionate about positively influencing the future of young students at an early age.
When we started the company, it was important for us to get voices of teachers into the application that we were creating. We didn't want to just come up with a solution and then throw it through to the teachers. So we needed a teacher's input, and Simelane was one of the first few teachers who gave advice on the curriculum. He gave us advice in terms of what is important with regards to the CAPS curriculum. Well, how do you teach kids as young as 4 years old mathematics? How do you make it fun? How do you make it engaging? And through that, we then were able to come through and see him do his Saturday classes and do his classes, and we saw that he turned the mathematics class into a world of fun, a world of children learning more, being inquisitive, drawing them into situations whereby they are able to see it not just as a memorization subject, but something that can teach you problem solving.
How many of you want to make their own money? Mainly what we are interested in what he does. It's how we mobilize the community so that they can be part of the different programs that we have in the foundation. As I said, we've got 3 different programs. So the first 2 programs are where he plays a part, because in the primary space, which is the primary education, we recruit from primary and then we place kids into high school. So Mr. Simelane is the one who does most of the campaigning for us to make sure that we get these kids that we want to get into the programs.
Head of Sizanani Primary School, Ms. Mutsidisi Nkosi, expressed her gratitude on the important role that Mr. Simelane plays to ensure that the learners are exposed to these opportunities.
Anything that will develop and better the lives of my children. To me, it's an opportunity not to be missed. So when he sent me this text yesterday to say he's coming, when I saw the name Alan Gray, I said sponsorship for my grade 6s. When I saw New Ben, I said to myself robotics. I saw technology, I saw a whole lot of things that will enhance performance, that will motivate my learners, that will support my learners. So to me, having Simelane as a partner in education, I see ourselves growing our wings wider and wider.
While his passion lies within the walls of the classroom, he managed to help a few students to see life beyond the classroom walls and dream big. In 2017, he helped a student, Tato Khatebe, to pursue his dreams.
Tato Khatebe is a young man that I met was in grade 5. Today Tato is studying at university. He's studying PCOM. And he was studying PCOM first year last year. So Tato is saying to me, I become generalized. So he's doing PCOM accounting in CA. So Tato now is a good speaker because I used to see his confidence. So Tato was good in mathematics, so I identified that. And I also identified confidence. So I also identified discipline.
To further raise awareness regarding the education system in South Africa, he launched a book to tackle educational challenges. In the book, he is unpacking tools and tips to empower communities and to encourage kids to stay in school.
2020, I think there was COVID, so everything stood still. And then I realized, okay, in 2020, no one was going to work and school were closed intentionally. And then I figured it out with you. So it my year 2020, no school. 2021, the kids they were doing grade 2, so they visited school. Grade 3, that's when basically they kind of started school. Then in grade 4, which was 2023, then they were tested for reading for meaning. But from my results, I was public knowledge. More than 80% of the kids could not read for meaning. So that also triggered with Aman. These kids, they're the one that started school in 2020 and they never went to school. So basically these kids, they started school in grade 3. One we teaching. I had this perspective now, Muguti. What's wrong with education in South Africa? That's what I was like, maybe it's these things related to policies and stuff and all those things that are not related to education. So it's more like political things. Yeah. So I had that kind of an approach. But only to find no man, it's not that. So I had that motivation as if you're a South African now, if you go outside of the country, they say to you, rate education in South Africa out of 10. You're confident now to stand around you're giving a score, you're confident you're from South Africa, education, what you can speak about it. So I wanted to give I'm a South African confidence. I wanted to create opportunities. So for Abantuana as well.
Resale amogela go Stories Untold. As we settle into the 2025 academic year, parents with children with special needs are still struggling to access educational facilities for their children. The Sunrise Special School in Pretoria is one such school which ensure that learners with special needs have access to education.
Globally, more than 200 million children and young people between the ages of 6 and 17 are not in school. In South Africa, The figure stands at more than 200,000 children aged 7 and 17. The main reason they are not attending school is related to the quality of education, financial constraints, and their disabilities. A majority of parents are left wanting when it comes to getting their kids into mainstream schools due to their kids' disability. Sunrise Special Needs School from Pretoria is an all-inclusive school catering for children living with special needs. We caught up with Tebogo, who has a child living with epilepsy. She expresses how the Sunrise Special Needs School was a blessing to her.
Ngwanaka o started tsena mo in 2022 due to his illness. He's epileptic, and then another mainstream school. So that's when they find out how like how can cope up in class. So that's when like I try to work hand in hand in the one like zama home nyakela school kantle. So ka create opportunity. Mem Shahim again interesting everything, the whole process, and then when I was admitted to the school. Natama occupational therapist go the hospital, and then go hospital. So like they find out how like his eyesight. It will actually was me or who recognize that his eyesight is not powerful. Yeah, the right side. And then I talked to the occupational therapist, and then zama homo like mostly in zama homo dira no like check hore matwa high abereka pila, and then his body or ebe function pila na.
The school has different curriculums and activities curated specifically for the needs of the children. Whilst we got a glimpse of their day-to-day activities, we spoke to Ziku Swatinaso, who is a departmental head for the senior learners at Sunrise. She gave us a brief of how they cater for the children.
In the senior phase, which is the children are starting from the age of 14 here, coming from the junior phase, right? So when they get here, they get an opportunity to choose which skills would they want to do, and also based on the abilities, right? So we select them. We've got food production, we've got woodwork, we've got office administration, which is computers, we've got sewing next door. Our focus here is not for them to read and write, but is to do functional skills, so that at the end of the day, they are able to look after themselves and do a little bit of entrepreneurship. So at the age of 14, they choose. And then thereafter, we bake, we sew, we do all those things. And then after that, we look into the world of work, where we are going to incorporate them. It is very difficult, especially our children, first and foremost, are coming from very disadvantaged background, and getting the information, assisting the parents, it's a very difficult process.
Principal and head of the Sunrise Special Needs School, Ms. Ashman. She explains to us how parents can identify if their kids have special needs and how they can benefit from such institutions.
The process is not easy, and I actually feel for parents because they're thrown from pillar to post. Some parents know what to do, some parents don't know what to do. If a referral is made from, say, a mainstream school to a special school, it has to go via the district offices, where the district has to check that everything is in place via a checklist, that they've ticked all of the boxes, submitted all supporting documents, and then they will look at the diagnosis that is made by the educational psychologist, and from there decide, is it for Sunrise School or is it for any other special school. Sunrise specifically caters for what is called an SID kid, SID standing for severely intellectually disabled, and that has to be determined by an educational psychologist that the child fits the profile of the school. We do have kids with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and so on, but the primary disability is a severe intellectual disability, which means that most of the kids at Sunrise School just don't have a primary disability. It is accompanied by a secondary disability.
Access to safe learning spaces, reliable resources, student-centered curriculums, and effective teachers. These are the essential qualities needed to ensure that children with special needs get the good quality education.
You know, it is heartwarming. You know, I love being here. I love being with the kids because that's where I always say, if your child is in the mainstream, is doing maths, is doing physics, is doing this, you've got an idea that when he's finished matric, this child is going to engineering, is going to do BSc, but for here it's a different story. Legal achievement, that knowing where to get a spatula, where to switch on that gas stove, it warms my heart.
I see a huge difference coming here, because even though he doesn't know how to write properly, but at least like a paperwork, like build some things, the blocks, the beads work, he can do that, and then the paper cuttings and stuff, he can do that. Even though he's not perfect in writing, but at least there's a huge difference coming to the school.
While the practice of inclusive education has recently been widely embraced as an ideal model for education, it is important to identify your child's needs early in order to get the best assistance for your child.
Preferably, if we can identify that this child has a problem early on in life, instead of them coming here when they're 18 and then they're ready to graduate and we aren't able to help this child, to the maximum. So early identification, you enroll your child at a special school, and then you will see them grow. I mean, we've seen little ones that started here 2 years ago, and they become so mature and so confident, and it's beautiful to see.
Hamukela eka Stories Untold. Educational inclusion is very important in South Africa. Meet Aviwe Jamani, who has a hearing impairment. She holds many academic achievements. She is an inspiration who did not allow her disability to define who she is.
We are gathered here this afternoon to witness what I would call a real milestone. A milestone in our democracy, which is about the signing of a constitutional amendment to recognize sign language as the 12th official language of South Africa.
Teacher and Cultural Liaison Officer at EDEF, Aviwe Jamani, is beaming with pride as sign language has been adopted as the 12th official language in South Africa.
I'll never forget that day when President Ramaphosa actually announced that this South African Sign Language is the 12th official language. The signing was televised, and I was with my family. So when he put that paper up, and my family and I watched this, I had goosebumps. My parents also had goosebumps. My parents themselves encountered so many challenges in their lives, and they never had opportunities like I did. And their experience was not so good, And a lot of people have been lobbying and advocating for South African Sign Language to be this 12th official language.
Before becoming a teacher and achieving good academic results, Aviwe encountered many challenges with her studies due to barriers that are associated with people that are hard at hearing, and she had to work twice as hard to get to where she is.
After matric, I looked for opportunities, and obviously there were challenges also, because I wanted to go to a university, but unfortunately my grading level was so low. My points were low, and I was not able to get enough credits to go into university. Honestly, I felt like my dreams were shattered. I had all these big dreams before leaving school, and now after matric, I was like, how is it that I can't even get into college or university? I tried my utmost best. And at some point, I must say, I was demotivated because I knew that I was deaf, yes, and I knew there was a big hearing community out there that I couldn't communicate with. So that affected my confidence.
Aviwa managed to finish her studies, and she later became a director at an organization that is supporting deaf individuals called Definition. Through her advocacy work, she is providing a wide range of services and funding opportunities to guarantee equal access for deaf communities. She does so by doing live videos on social media.
Make sure to create awareness and also announcements to the deaf community, because we have the information, but we also have the resources here. So I work with a team where we film a lot of things. So I work as a cultural liaison under EDEF and a director under Definition. So my passion is South African Sign Language, where we do a lot of training in companies. We teach them sign language, and most of these companies go, yo, we need to learn sign language. And also even with inductions, how then do we communicate with this deaf person? How then do we make sure that they understand the information? And in the last few years, it's been so successful. You know, we do know stories of hearing companies who are skeptical to employ deaf people.
Through their Inclusion and Integration Solutions program, they have developed an app that can assist family members, friends, colleagues to learn more about sign language.
We also have a sign language app, which is brilliant. This app in itself is also for deaf and hearing parties, for them to communicate and to bridge this communication barrier. It's more like an English dictionary, where there are English words that have been put into sign, and deaf people and also hearing people can put in an English word in the search option there, and then a sign for that word will come up. There are over 10,000 words that are already on the app, and we're not stopping there. We are working extremely hard to make sure that a lot of words are translated into sign onto this app. There are various categories and business phrases, and it's been extremely successful because this is what we're using to create inclusion for the deaf community.
Her passion and advocacy work led her to becoming actively involved in the Nelson Mandela's Children Parliament Fund organization as the Western Cape Ambassador.
I was one of the ambassadors for the Western Cape, not only for deaf people, but also for hearing people. So I was representing the Western Cape youth, both deaf and hearing. I did a lot of presentations, and I remember hearing my hearing counterparts going, yo, this deaf person can do this. And I said, yes. It was time that I showed everyone that deaf people can do anything. Even if maybe a deaf child doesn't have a lot of resources out there in the community, the deaf child can also come to our various branches. We have a branch in Braamfontein, Centurion, Durban and Cape Town, and the parents can also lead their child here, and we can register them for various courses that are offered here at EDEF. So as I said, we have resources. Parents, please just love your child no matter what, regardless of whether they are deaf or hearing, because remember, all children are the same.
As for parents, do not give up on your children. Continue to support them and assist them to explore different available options for them to go back to school. From all of us at Stories Untold, see you next week, same place, same time. Dada.